1 hour ago, BTS members gather, but JN looks separated. What's going on? An hour ago, the public was surprised by a moment that should have brought warmth, but instead raised a big question mark. The BTS members were seen gathering, but Jin appeared to be in a separate position. Why does this long-awaited moment of togetherness display a symbolic distance that is hard to ignore? Is this just a visual coincidence, or is there a deeper message behind it? The presence of BTS members at one time is always a magnet for global attention. Every gesture, position, and facial expression is often carefully analyzed by fans and entertainment industry observers. Therefore, when this togetherness shows Jin not being in the same circle, the public's reaction is immediately divided between concern and speculation. In the world of K-pop, which is full of symbolic meaning, even the smallest details are rarely taken lightly. Historically, BTS has been known as a group that displays strong solidarity, both on stage and off-camera. Jin, as the oldest member, is often positioned as a balancing figure, not only in terms of age, but also emotionally. Therefore, his appearance, which looks separate, raises critical questions. Is this part of an ongoing professional dynamic, or just a point of view exaggerated by public perception? Some observers assess that this moment cannot be separated from the context of the individual activities of the BTS members lately. In a phase where each member is undergoing their respective projects and roles, togetherness does not always mean uniformity of position. However, the visual distance that appears still sparks interpretation, especially because it occurred in a moment that had just taken place and immediately spread widely on social media. On the other hand, the fans' reaction shows how strong the emotional bond between BTS and their support base is. Some see this as a sign of a change of direction, while others see it as a media narrative construction to create sensation. The question then shifts. To what extent does the public need to believe the impression that arises from one piece of moment, without a complete context? In media studies, phenomena like this are often referred to as the overinterpretation effect, where audiences add meaning that far exceeds the visual facts. However, that is precisely where the strength and vulnerability of public figures lie. BTS is not just a music group, they're a global cultural symbol. Every small difference in their collective appearance can trigger broad discourse, even before any clarification is conveyed. Interestingly, up to an hour after the moment emerged. There has been no official statement explaining the meaning behind Jin's seemingly separate position. This information vacuum is what makes the space for speculation even wider. Is this a deliberate communication strategy, or is there really no issue that needs to be clarified? In the digital media landscape, silence often speaks louder than statements. In the end, the public is faced with a reflective choice. Are we really witnessing an indication of division? Or are we trapped in a narrative construction shaped by camera angles, time cuts, and emotional expectations? This 1 hour moment may soon pass, but the questions it leaves behind remain relevant. How critical are we in interpreting an event, and to what extent do we distinguish between facts, perceptions, and sensations that are intentionally or unintentionally created? The narrative about BTS's togetherness, colored by Jin's seemingly separate position, is now developing far beyond the initial event. The question is no longer just, why does Jin look different, but why are we so quick to conclude that something is wrong? Is this spontaneous public reaction driven by strong facts, or by the old habits of the media and audiences in building drama from pieces of reality that are not necessarily complete? In the digital age, information moves faster than verification. A few seconds of video footage, screenshots without context, or one-sided narratives from one account can easily shape mass opinion. We also need to ask ourselves honestly, does what we see really reflect the actual situation, or is it just an illusion formed by the angle of the shot and narrative framing? Why is one brief moment able to shift our perception of relationships that have been built over the years? The emotional reactions of fans and the public are also worth reflecting on. Does the concern that arises come from genuine concern, or from dependence on the sensations that the media continues to produce? In this context, Jin is not just an individual, but a symbol placed in the grand narrative of BTS. When that symbol appears to shift, the public seems forced to look for hidden meanings. However, does every shift always mean conflict? Or are we projecting collective anxieties into events that are not necessarily significant? It should be realized that most of the information circulating today comes from various social media platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and other online media. These platforms have different characteristics from verificative journalism. Algorithms prefer engagement, not truth. So, the crucial question is, who benefits from the gene-separated narrative? Does the public get a more complete understanding, or do the media get clicks, views, and attention? This is where the importance of a healthy skeptical attitude lies. Skeptical does not mean rejecting all information, but rather postponing conclusions until adequate data is available. Is there an official statement? Has the context of time and situation been fully explained? If the answer is no, why are we so sure that this event is real and of great significance? Shouldn't the possibility of hoaxes, misinformation, or excessive dramatization also be considered? Furthermore, we need to question our role as an audience. Are we just passive consumers who accept narratives as they are, or reflective individuals who are able to distinguish between facts and sensations? Every time we share, comment on, or debate a piece of news without verification, aren't we also prolonging the cycle of information confusion? Is our attention being directed, consciously or not, to issues that are not necessarily substantial? This event, real or not, should be a mirror for how we respond to information. Jin, who appears separated, could just be a visual coincidence, part of a professional agenda, or even an exaggerated narrative construction. But the public's reaction to it is a social fact that cannot be ignored. The question now shifts. What does this reaction say about us as a digital society? We do not claim that the information conveyed is completely true, just as we do not immediately call it wrong. Precisely because the truth still needs to be verified further, we invite you to stop for a moment, rethink, and re-question every assumption. Do you really believe this is an important event, or just a story packaged to look important? In the end, a healthy discussion is born from critical awareness. Don't let emotions precede reason, and don't let sensationalism replace facts. Today's media world demands a more intelligent, reflective, and courageous audience to ask questions. And perhaps the most important question of all is, when we react to news like this, are we looking for the truth or just following the flow of attention? Thank you.